It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. Exciting new show. Second show of 2022. Tons of great information we'll cover this week. And just really overall, all kind of stuff going on to start the new year off. And the first thing we'll talk about this week, the brand new real estate market numbers are in. And they're interesting to say the least. We've seen a kind of a leveling off of prices here for the past few months. We kind of predicted that. We'll see kind of what those numbers are and what's happening with those. But seals up a little bit in a couple areas. We'll talk about that, which is good. We'll talk about what my team ended up. He had huge growth last year. Over 70% increase in volume. Our little team sold over 2 houses a day, really won every 11 hours last year and just absolutely crushed it. So very, very proud of our team. Big shout out to them. Also talk about a national article out this week that says why waiting to sell your house could cost you a small fortune. And it's very interesting to talk about timing this year and how much different it is in terms of winter versus spring market. And so look at kind of how those make a difference this year and how things are happening a little earlier than usual based on some of the national data, which is interesting as well. One cool thing we'll talk about, which is always cool to share, how South Carolina is listed as one of the top 3 states people are moving to right now. We'll look at the top 10 of where people are moving into and also the top 10 where people are moving out of, which I think we can guess a lot of those. And so we'll kind of dig into that. Really some great stuff. We got all kind of cool stuff to talk about. Also, an article that I've been saving for a couple weeks that Glenn Beck warns of massive upheaval in the housing market and some very interesting data of like what's driving market trends, what's happening, and some interesting things a lot of people don't know in terms of institutional buyers and what's happening overall as well. Last piece, if we have time, is just look at the average homeowner, what they added to their net worth last year. Very, very interesting numbers, which is great. We kind of outperformed some of the areas nationally, which is very, very good. And as usual, my team and I have some amazing, amazing success stories. We pushed very, very hard all the way through the holidays, all the way to the finish line, and we're starting off this year with massive growth. We'll talk about those and share those as well.
Blake Sloan has been called a real estate whiz kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Breakfast Morning Show. You heard the personal endorsements here.
Hey, Dave.
Hannity, also our reporter, Gary LeBlanc. Put them all together. It's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but we're happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and that's the whole DNA reason why we do this show is just all the horror stories I've seen over the years and just problems and challenges. And the same crazy thing I see over and over. And it doesn't matter how affluent someone is, how many houses they've sold. They seem to make the same mistake over and over and over. And the mistake they make is they think that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. And so that's just something we want to talk about each week on the show and really share. That's the DNA why we share the stories we do, the overall different articles we do, the information, the data, because the reality is it's just like any doctor, any lawyer. If you're charged with a crime you did not commit, the last thing you want some part-time attorney a friend of yours who's tried a couple cases, right? You want the absolute best, most aggressive, and I can't see why anyone wouldn't demand that same exact level of excellence. They're dealing with their largest asset. The same thing when you're talking about a doctor. You want the absolute best, right, who specializes in that type arena, and you want someone who's going to get the result that you want. But for some reason, with real estate, they just go with anyone thinking they're all the same. It could not be any further from the truth. And so if that's one thing anyone takes from the show every week, that's a big thing, because here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. And that thing is the agent you choose, period, right? Not the wall color, not the grass quality. It comes down to the agent that you choose, and specifically how they execute from A to Z when selling a property. Because the reality is when you're selling a home, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what it does? Puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. If anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point. And that could be anything from the quality of photos, the order of the photos, Does the agent answer the phone when someone actually calls out the for sale sign? If they inquire online on a web lead, how long does it take them to call back if they do call back? How do they negotiate on your behalf? There's all these things that matter, and they make or break your home sale on the back end. And so what we did and what I did, say, look, there's got to be a better way than how most agents operate. When I got into business, it really was just kind of the overall piece of the world. They promise you the world get listing. Number two, they put it into MLS. And three, they pray that someone else brings the buyer. And meanwhile, the agent's down the street trying to get the next listing. Why is that? Because that's how most people have to survive. And so I really sought out and said, look, there's got to be a way that gets better results, more predictable results, and can do that through two things. Number one's a team. Number two is technology. And so we developed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system to sell twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. And so if each one's handled correctly, saves you money, get the property you want. Anything handled incorrectly costs you money, don't get the property you want. So we create a system the same way that's proven repeatable, gets maximum leverage every single point to do one thing: give our client a huge competitive advantage. And that's called the unfair advantage home buying system. Get you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as through the home inspection to get to the closing table successfully. And so those things are really massive tools that we use that help get the great results for our clients over and over and over again. And all that's done proactively, where most agents are just acting reactively and really just getting the squeaky wheel in your deal and what they're finding for you. And specifically in their listings in the marketing game, we outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. And so the overall difference here, the agent you choose matters, and you want to make sure they have a system behind you that can make a big difference. We'll talk about that here. Take a quick break. Be right back in a second.
Here with my trusted friend in the real estate market, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group, and with the market the way it is today. So what are you doing differently?
With the market being the way it is today, we're doing things totally different. We outspend the average agent here in our marketplace 100 to 1. We bring in national and international buyers that bring more buyers to our homes, that generate more offers, and in many cases, multiple offers that get our clients top dollar.
Makes sense. So what does that mean for someone who lists today?
That means that anyone that's thinking about listing today, if they list with an average agent, they can cost themselves $10, $20, $30, $40,000 of their hard-earned equity because their property did not get the exposure that they deserve. They must call a top agent with the right marketing plan to get them the exposure they need.
All right, as always, thanks for the insight. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, we can agree to sell it by a certain date, take cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Got the brand new market numbers in, and we'll do two things today. We'll talk about what's the overall 12-month review look like. So we look at, hey, what happened in 2021 overall, and we'll look at last month because obviously we know the market trends change pretty much, month versus month, and really want to look at the most recent data because what happened 12 months ago and the overall average of 12 months doesn't really say the same exact thing that you see in terms of month versus month in the most recent data. But really quick, great shout out to my team. Very, very proud of our team. We're getting some of the preliminary numbers in. We still have the final numbers, a few that weren't actually in MLS, or we actually sold clients properties that weren't listed, actually bought some properties, things like that. But just preliminary wise, overall from the MLS, 772 properties closed, $173,544,089. So big shout out to our team, our clients, all the amazing listeners of this show. Our team absolutely crushed it. 45+% growth in units, over 70% growth in volume. And so very, very cool to do that here in a very small market like Myrtle Beach when you're going up against places in big cities and big areas. So 772 plus we got at least 8 or 9 that we know of that we're putting together that were just off market deals as well as purchases that we made instead of listing it for them. And so it puts over 780, which is awesome. Do that math. It's about one house sold every 11 hours. And so really, really cool. This testament to our small team. That's with, about 30 agents selling a lot more than some brokers. It was 200, 250 agents with them here in our marketplace. So very, very cool to share that. Also, looking here in terms of also business model we talked about there, our business model is much different. We're a team. It's not some giant brokers where everyone's against each other. That's all one small team, all aligned, selling 772 houses. So really, really cool to have that. Looking at the overall market data. Everyone wants to know, hey, what's my house doing? What's it look like overall? Look at the 12-month review in terms of what the Grand Strand do, A to Z from January all the way into December. Looking at that's an 18.2% growth in terms of actual homes sold. 8,030 homes sold last year in our entire area here overall, which is, very, very cool, showing that aspect of kind of the 12-month review. Sales price here, and that's single-family homes that are resale homes. There's also new construction and condos that you look at as well. Into prices, the last 12 months for prices here on the Grand Strand, right now for median price, $307,875. That's a 19.6% increase from looking back in January. If you look at, January 2019, overall price was $219,000. So all the way up to 307. Big growth there in terms of equity for the average homeowner. Looking back to January 18, it was 207. So if you look at January 2018, 207, January 2018, 219. Not a huge jump there, but you go from 2019 to 2020 here, looking at 230. And then this year at 2021, it was January 2021 was looking at 260. And then right now, 307,875, which is awesome. Also, average sale price. Look at average sale price last 12 months up 19.2%, which is awesome. January of last year, $330,215. Right now, $390,000 overall, which is really cool. 60,000 in equity increase for the average homeowner here on the Grand Strand, which is beating the national average of 57,000 overall. If you really kind of get that down to certain areas, there's some areas of the beach that really killed that and beat that at a high level. Looking at overall last month, if you want to look at last month breakdown, we are seeing a little bit of a, I won't say softening, but you're seeing kind of go back and forth between some of the numbers that are lower. Last month, 673 single-family homes closed at 0.2%, 2.0% increase from the same month last year. It's up a little bit from November. November, 656 homes. December, 673. So slight increase. It was still down, though, from the peak of this year in June, where you saw 797. And so the most interesting piece of the data here in terms of market numbers is really going to get to median price. And so median price last month was at 320,000, which is great. It's up 18.6%. from the same month last year. But when you look at it on a graph, you're going to see a trend here where it stays about the same since July. And so if you look at July this year, it was 324,900. Then in August, 325, September, 325. It dropped down in October to 32,500. November, 319,900, and then right back at December, 320,000. So in essence, since July, it's been at a ceiling of about 320 to 325,000. And so it does show a little bit. We're kind of hitting a ceiling in terms of price. We did see it decline a little bit in November, but it's kind of held off right there at 320,000 even. So interesting enough to look at. Does mean if I'm a home seller, I may want to think about that before you see any softening or declines or anything at all overall in that aspect. Also, average sale price up 16.5%. from the same month last year. Right now, $399,256, which is great. It was actually up, thankfully, from November. November was $390,876. December, $399,256, which is down, though, from the peak of this year in September of $416,509. We talked previously how it would bounce around a little bit, but we are seeing it kind of soften in terms of price. And so if I'm a home seller, I want to keep that in mind if I'm thinking about selling. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes when we talk about the national numbers. We were talking about inventory. That's still one of the biggest topics. Talked about inventory, which is the amount of homes for sale, down 47.6% for the same month last year. Right now, only 1.1 months of inventory. A healthy market is really 6 months inventory. And so right now, it's what we call a super seller's market. And so it means if you're a home seller, you have the advantage right now. We'll talk about why this year's a little bit different versus waiting to the spring, where springtime really may be a little more competitive. You may see some people all kind of put their house in the market at the same exact time. We'll talk about that as well. Into condos, we'll look at last month in condos. It declined a little bit, and we've kind of predicted that because it was such a huge run in condos after the home inventory dried up. Everyone ran to condos, bought pretty much everything they could up, and so we saw a slight decline last month from November to December. So in December this last month, there were 649 condo sales closed, In November, though, 726 condos closed, and the peak of this year was in May with 847. So from the peak at 847 down to 649 December. The good news is it was up a little bit from December of last year, up 3.5% overall. If you look at the overall condo market, though, the last 12 months, huge growth in terms of sales. Check this out, 37.7% increase in condo sales this year. Huge jump. And that was just really because it's right. Inventory really dried up in 2020 for homes that started really getting low, and everyone moved to condos this year because of affordability. We had a lot of clients who had previously looked for single families who tend to move over to condos because the affordability was there, which is interesting enough to say the least. Sales price for condos, if you look at median price over the last 12 months, up 14.8%, which is great. So, for example, in January 2021, the overall median price is $149,800. At the end of the year, December 31st, $169,900. So great increase in equity there in terms of extra equity added to the pocket. If you look at even January 2020, it was at 136. And so big increase there for everyone this year overall. Average sale price this year also up 15.9% overall. If you look at last month's numbers, compare December versus December, up 22.5% in terms of price, which is great at 189.9. Only little concern there is we did cap out. We're seeing the same trend here. November this year, we capped out in price at 194,950. Then it dropped back down in December to 189,9. So not alarming, but just something I like to watch. We kind of seen here a trend happen where you're seeing some softening of price. And so if I'm a home seller, I kind of want to take that in mind because I don't want to chase the market down in any way overall as well. And ironically, we also saw the same thing happen in the average price. We just talked about median. Average price at 219,207. But November was 227,678. And so that is a small decline month versus month. Keep that in mind here. If I'm a condo owner and thinking about cashing out at the top here, obviously I do think we'll see long-term growth in terms of prices just because there's such a huge constraint in inventory, but we are seeing a little dip here. One thing that's really protecting overall prices is the absolute lack of inventory. We have a new record this month in terms of actual condo supply. Right now, there's only 0.6 months of inventory, which is super low. Not even a full month of inventory, down 82.9% from the same time last year, which is huge. And so what that means is anybody that has a condo, you definitely want to kind of strike while the iron's hot. Everyone's looking kind of fiending for condos. There's just not a whole lot out there at all. We're selling some within minutes. And really, we're matching up with buyers that we have already on our website that are just looking because we have so many buyers right now and so little inventory to be able to sell them. And so that's just something that's interesting to look at overall. One thing that's been driving that previously has been interest rates. We'll talk about that here in a second over that aspect. And so interest rates, really looking at last week's show, we have some huge news this week in terms of big time jumps. You all may have heard that or seen that. We'll talk about that after some news from the Fed. But right now, let's look at last week's show. Rates 3.22%. Right now, this week's show 3.47%. Big increase there. We had a new 52-week high in terms of rates at 3.47%. 15-year fix right now 2.75%. A 30-year FHA loan 3.05%. Also a new 52-week high. 30-year jumbo loan 3.25%, and a 5-year ARM is 3.80%. Also a new high. And so that's just something to keep in mind here as rates rise. Potentially less buying power for you as a buyer, and also less buyers for your house if you're a seller in terms of what that is. And so if you look at why rates are rising, obviously one of the biggest things, some news from the Fed over last week just talks about how they're going to, quote, back up some accommodation, they called it, which is really just kind of some of the, the extra, I'm trying to read the actual notes here. Just they're more eager to remove accommodation from the economy. They conveyed that in their meeting a few weeks ago, which means, hey, look, they're not going to be buying as many mortgage-backed securities. They're going to be softening some of that stimulus. And so just keep that in mind. If I'm looking to buy, or if you're looking to lock your rate in, great time to do so. We had some clients of ours lock their rate in this past week. We're very glad that they did. And so great news there overall. Price is still up. We had an amazing year here in 2021. Look to hopefully keep that going here 2022. Take a quick break. Right back here in a minute with some awesome success stories.
Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools.
Like 8 minutes left?
To get the highest sales price possible.
Like 8 minutes left, you think? Or
True play. And here in Myrtle Beach,
agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new
Okay.
one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's shows Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. One thing we talk about every week is the hot buyers alert. Huge numbers coming out. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking to buy homes in the Myrtle Beach area from $150,000 up to $4.3 million. If you're thinking about selling, contact us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. Again, that's 843-808-SOLD. One of the things that we always like to do, we've been doing this for years and years. Any longtime listeners have seen this and heard this and really seen this number grow. And so we spend massive amounts of money driving traffic online, capturing buyers from all over the country, international buyers. And we, like I mentioned, outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. And so right now, our active count, and that's one thing we talk about all the time, is putting our money where our mouth is and proof versus promises. So we share our active buyer count every week on the show. And usually, obviously, the trend goes up. Right now, we're at 65,697 active home buyers. Again, 65,697 active home buyers on my site that have username, password, account. Like, those aren't hits. That's not traffic. Those are active buyers looking to search right now. I have Wendy Burns. She's from Warsaw, Indiana. Been here 154 visits, looked at 131 properties. I got Brenda Plath from Millville, New Jersey. I got Dania from Goose Creek, South Carolina. I got Kayla from St. Paul, Minnesota. I got Rana from Smethport, PA. I got Julie from Chicago. I got Carrie from Brooklyn, New York. And so we got all over West Hartford, Connecticut here. And so you see that huge reach that we have that bring buyers in. It allows us to really drive up the value of a home and allows us to really get premium prices for our sellers, because most agents, what they do is they wait to get a listing, they put a sign in the yard, then they start trying to do a little bit of marketing and really try to do as much free marketing or low budget marketing they can. With us, we're spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars every month on marketing, driving traffic, and really been capturing and doing this for a very long time. And it gives us a huge competitive advantage. And so our team model we have a team of specialists who specialize in exactly what they do. We have inside sales, outside sales, buyer specialists, seller specialists, a huge administration team. And so it allows us to serve our clients at a higher level. But really, it's a much more efficient business model that allows me to spend more money to acquire more leads and in turn drive up prices for our clients. And so especially when you compare it to the average agent, our MLS sells about 4 homes a year, and our team here at 772 the last 12 months. And so if you want that type of exposure, reach out to us, call us 843-808-SOLD, because we need obviously inventory. Just hearing what we have out there this morning, I looked at how many single family resale homes were on the market. We share this with my team every morning, but right now, this morning, there's 443 single family homes in Horry County that are resale on the market. And here we are with 65,697 buyers. So you can see my problem. We can have it sold instantly. We can do whatever strategy you want. We can do a 30-day, 60-day, whatever you want. We're able to really plan around that. And that's what we do in crafting our custom plans. So really quick, 2 awesome success stories. Very proud. Our team's been absolutely crushing it. This is a cool story too from longtime listeners. Jason lives in Conway, but worked in Myrtle Beach. Recently decided he'd like to move closer to where his work is located, obviously close to the beach. Thankfully, Jason's parents have been longtime listeners to the show. Told Jason there's only one person to call. It's Blake Sloan and his team. Jason called our office. I met with Jason, able to help show how we can get more money than he thought the home was worth. We picked a maximum price strategy, designed a custom plan, launched global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality tour within a couple of days of massive traffic, got Jason to offer $20,000 more than what he originally thought he could get for his home. Now he's able to buy his new home with confidence that his is going to sell, and he put $20,000 extra dollars in his pocket, thankfully to his parents, have him call us. And also, another really cool story, Bill and Bokia recently bought a home in Charleston. They no longer need their home here in Myrtle Beach on the Intercoastal Waterway. Very nice home on the Intercoastal Waterway. Thankfully, Bill heard about us on the radio, decided to come meet us in person. He actually drove to our office, which is super cool, walked in and said, hey, I'm looking to sell my house. His number one priority, though, in choosing an agent was someone to be very, very real honest with him, tell him exactly what he need to hear to get the home sold for top dollar. We show with him, hey, look, here's what we can do. Here's our program. He was blown away, picked our maximum price strategy, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality tour. With him, we did a big drone program as well because obviously it's on the water. Then just a couple weeks of massive traffic, had them amazing all-cash offer, as is for their home. Now they can move on, put maximum equity in their pocket. And so if you want to be one of those stories where you're not a horror story first, make sure to reach out to us. Even in this hot market, what I'm seeing is people make big time mistakes. Anybody can sell your house right now. You can sell it yourself. But the difference is, are you going to leave $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on the table? Because I see this literally every single day, from price strategy, from how they market it, how far they can push it, and also how they negotiate appraisals right now, which are coming in. We just renegotiated one this past week. It came in low, I think $18,000 low. Pushed back on that, and they deemed that appraisal with errors, and then they went to the secondary appraisal to be able to make sure we get our client what they need for that price. So awesome news there. A couple quick things we'll just get to. Last couple of things I think is very interesting. How much time I got left, Dave? 2 minutes. All right, cool. The top states, the inbound states from 2021, the top 10. Number 1, Vermont. Number 2, South Dakota. Number 3, South Carolina. So awesome. Came in top 3 there. West Virginia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Oregon, Idaho, and Rhode Island. This is a report that came out from the Attorney General of Alabama, actually. And that was in a great article. The top states people moving out of. Number 1, New Jersey. Number 2, Illinois. Number 3, New York. Number 4, Connecticut. Number 5, California. Number 6, Michigan. Number 7, Massachusetts. I'm not sure what the common denominator is. All those states are moving out, but I have a feeling they're pretty all connected. And so very, very thankful to be here on the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach and South Carolina. Very cool for us to be on the top 3 states out of the top 10, which is awesome news there. And so that's great news for us in terms of home value. And you definitely want to make sure, reach out to us. If you're thinking about selling, here's the deal. I tell us all the time, don't trust an online evaluation tool. The reason is they're using data that's just dated, right? The market's so hot right now. You need someone who's an expert who can look at the data and say, look, based on what these things are selling for, based on what the new properties are, here's how far we can push that price. And usually we can push the price significantly higher than what you're seeing online based on that data. And so if you want to know more about that, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD as well. We got about 1 minute left. All right, while waiting to sell your home could cost you a small fortune. Very, very important thing right now. Here's number 1. Buyers looking right now, they're ready to purchase. There's a huge frenzy right now that shows in national numbers. Showings are exceeding pre-pandemic numbers, and you're seeing it huge levels. But here's the biggest one overall we're seeing is that other sellers plan to list earlier this year than normal. And the third thing here is new construction is going to be your huge competition in spring. There's 979,000 single families being built right now that will be your competition this spring. And so take early action, reach out to us now, get your property on the market while the inventory is super low, and sell for a super high price. 843-808-SOLD. We'll see you here next week. Same time, same place.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
When I Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many,